welcome back again, dear participants of the InsuResilience Annual Forum 2021. Once again, I hope that you enjoyed the breakout sessions, that they were fruitful, and that there's plenty of takeaways that you can use to move from political ambition to implementation of climate and disaster risk finance and insurance solutions. Well, how can I put it to you? Believe it or not, we've already reached almost the final session of this year's forum event, the closing. Well, first of all, we'll be able to share two video messages with you sent by Amal Krishna Mandal, Joint Secretary Economics Relations Divisions at the Ministry of Finance in Bangladesh, and by Achim Steiner, Administrator of the United Nations Development Programme. For the closing itself, we'll hear, of course, from our host, Dr. Astrid Zwick, head of the InsuResilience Secretariat, and from the Vice Chairman of the Munich Re Foundation and member of the Board of Directors for the Microinsurance network, Dirk Reinhard. But first of all, let's start with those two video messages, and the first one comes from Amal Krishna Mandal from the Ministry of Finance in Bangladesh. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon. Hello everyone from Bangladesh. It is a great pleasure for me to address in the closing session of InsuResilience Annual Forum 2021. I am Amal Krishna Mandal, Joint Secretary, delivering the statement on behalf of Ms. Fatima Yasmin, Secretary Economic Relations Division, Ministry of Finance, Bangladesh, and representing the V20 presidency. After productive and fruitful sessions, it is a high time to put our heads together forward in order to protect our people and economies from climate-fueled disasters. The latest IPCC's sixth assessment report shows us that due to inadequate emission reduction measures, the 1.5-degree limit of the Paris Agreement may be breached in this decade. Our clock is ticking. We must act deliberately and with haste to protect our people and our economies. Bangladesh is already facing too much precipitation during the monsoon and insufficient water during the dry season, frequent cyclones, saltwater intrusion, and massive coastal erosion. Impacts include loss of agriculture production, loss of lives and livelihoods, loss of ecosystem services, forced displacement and migration, damage to infrastructure, loss of productive assets, and so on. More than 80% of population is potentially exposed to flood and droughts, and more than 70% to cyclones. On average, the economy experiences severe tropical cyclones every 3 years, and about 25% of the landmass is inundated with floodwaters every year. Severe floods occurs every 4 to 5 years and inundates about 60% of the land area. According to one estimate, climate change is exposed to decrease our agricultural GDP by 3.1% each year, equal to cumulative loss in the added value of $36 billion. If we consider the indirect impacts on complementary industries, it turns into $129 billion. However, currently Bangladesh is not a part of any sovereign risk transfer solutions, nor do we have large-scale agricultural insurance for our farmers. In face of increasing climate and disaster shakes, we need insurance penetration and develop different business models to increase the uptake of insurance and other risk transfer instruments. We are aware that covering a slow onset event under an insurance program is a challenge. We firmly believe InsuResilience program will address this challenge with a practical, tailor-made solution. We recognize the need to climate-proof our economy and safeguard macroeconomic resilience as the main objective of premium and capitalization support. The V20 Vision 2025, launched during the first V20 Climate Vulnerables Finance Summit in July 2021 aims to close the financial protection gap through a new global financial approach to reduce lives lost and economic losses. Our focus areas for insurance are cattle insurance, livelihood protection insurance, and infrastructure insurance. It can start in a small way and gradually covers the whole vulnerable areas. The summit's V20 communique calls on 4 key items that can help to close the financial protection gap and build long-term resilience. Number 1, to join forces to deliver the V20 Sustainable Insurance Facility. Number 2, a global public-private partnership for risk analytics and resilience to drive resilience and adaptation investment. Number 3, systematic provision of smart premium subsidies and capitalization to drive market opportunities. And number 4, to support climate-proofing public finances. Finally, I urge for a strong global partnership among developed countries and climate vulnerable countries. Financial institutions, MDBs, and other partners should come forward to support risk management and losses and damages of climate victims throughout the world. This collaboration will hopefully foster the implementation of climate risk finance and leads to solutions via insurance mechanisms, among others. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Amal Krishna Mandal, for this message and the perspective from Bangladesh there. The next message is paving the way for the IGP community, certainly ahead of COP26, and it comes from the United Nations Development Programme's Administrator, Achim Steiner. Let's listen in.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, people and planet face seemingly insurmountable challenges. Our changing climate, from the slow burn impact of droughts and sea level rise to the sudden consequences of cyclones or floods, threaten to set back hard-won development gains. Last year alone, nearly 1,000 disasters cost the global economy over $210 billion. Developing countries are disproportionately affected. On average, the world's poorest countries lose $29 billion every year from disasters. Yet just 3% of these losses are covered by insurance. Therefore, they must rely on their own strained resources or seek support from the donor community to recover and rebuild. At the same time, the COVID-19 pandemic has stretched the thin finances of many developing economies to breaking point. Yet we are seeing how the insurance and risk finance industry is also beginning to step up to the mark. It is playing an increasingly pivotal role in protecting lives, livelihoods and assets, boosting long-term resilience and helping countries to build forward better from the pandemic. Better financial management of crises and shocks helps to ensure economic, political and social stability. Insurance also helps to drive growth, freeing up resources that can be invested in crucial areas like healthcare or clean energy, for instance. Indeed, insurance and risk finance are fundamental to get the global goals back on track. Extending insurance to millions of people in developing countries can only be achieved by combining the efforts of governments and public policy, the development community, and the insurance sector and industry. To this end, the United Nations Development Programme has launched its brand new Insurance and Risk Finance Facility. Already operational in more than 20 countries, the facility will work with industry and governments to develop insurance and risk finance solutions in a minimum of 50 countries over the next 4 years. Central to the facility's work is the Tripartite Agreement, a partnership between the Insurance Development Forum, 10 of the world's largest insurance companies, the Federal Republic of Germany, and UNDP, to protect the livelihoods and infrastructure on which millions of people depend. It is this kind of far-reaching and innovative partnership that will help us to advance our commitment to Vision 2025 of the InsuResilience Global Partnership. This is helping to provide 500 million people with protection from climate and disaster risk by the year 2025. UNDP will rely on the Risk and Finance Facility to identify and implement much-needed insurance solutions across the globe, covering a wide range of areas, including regulation, public assets, and agriculture. We will be rolling out our work in 6 new countries over the coming weeks, including Uzbekistan, India, Indonesia, Ghana, Algeria, and Colombia that have invited us to partner with them. The continued support of the InsuResilience Global Partnership will be central to our collective success. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with COP26 now on the immediate horizon, we urgently need to scale up our work. So please see the United Nations and the United Nations Development Programme as a close partner, your close partner, wherever you may be in the world. Finally, I would like to express my personal gratitude and appreciation to all of you for your efforts to deploy insurance and risk finance at this pivotal moment. You are rewriting the rules of the game, ensuring a more level playing field and helping to improve the lives of millions of people across the globe who traditionally were excluded. Thank you so much.
Well, and a very big thank you to both Amal Krishna Mandal and, of course, Achim Steiner there for such encouraging, also uplifting messages. I think this is exactly what we all need to hear to take forward the ambition and momentum from this event through to COP26 and beyond. Well, and with this tall order, I would now like to hand over to Dr. Astrid Zwick, head of the InsuResilience Secretariat, and Dirk Reinhard, vice chairman of the Munich Re Foundation and member of the board of directors for the Microinsurance Network. Because both of you, Astrid and Dirk, you're going to close this 5th InsuResilience Global Partnership Forum now, and we look forward to listening to your takeaways.
Thank you very much, Monica. And thank you very much indeed for running us so smoothly through the 2 days. These are very intensive days with more than 20 sessions and over 70 speakers. Now, including the last 2 speakers, our dear chair of the Vulnerable 20 group from Bangladesh and UNDP's administrator Achim Steiner. Also talking about encouraging initiatives to scale up activities. Overall, the messages were quite clear and very much aligned over these 2 days. We need to act fast to buffer the negative impacts of climate change through pre-arranged finance at all levels and comprehensively and strategically. But we also have seen over these days that there's a need of collaboration and partnerships, that they are key for success. Something like we just have heard from Bangladesh, the new Global Risk Modeling Alliance enabling access to risk analytics. But there were other interesting topics. There's a human touch that was running through several sessions. Trust was mentioned, because reliance on the products and services requires trust and a good relationship, trust of the clients. And I think that has to be really conquered here. Yeah, we have several other ingredients, and one, for example, for success is the ownership of the governments to take the lead in risk management. We have seen that digital solutions can enable, but also an enabling regulatory environment is needed, advocated by the government. We have to speed up, and we can do that through pilot projects that show evidence, strong evidence. That were some of the messages that I've taken out. And of course, there are target groups like smallholder farmers that create a big share of GDP in many countries and create food for the population. So key target groups. Also, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises are in the focus. We have seen innovative approaches across different regions over the globe, from Mexico, Rwanda, Nepal to Fiji, and many more programs on the ground that will help to bring more people under the protection shield. So there is hope. Dialogue is going on, and you will find many of these perspectives in our newly launched InsuResilience magazine that you can download from now. I'm not closing the session alone, and this is a symbolic gesture because, yeah, I talked about also smallholder farmers, micro and small, medium-sized enterprises. This leads us to a community which is very important, and this is why we are connected and strongly connected, not only in the conference, but now especially with the International Conference on Inclusive Insurance. We had a common session, a collaborative session, just a few hours ago on the development of inclusive insurance markets. And I'm now very proud that Dirk Reinhard, the Vice Chairman of the Munich Re Foundation and co-organizer of the ICII, the International Conference on Inclusive Insurance, is here to close the session together with me. So Dirk, I think you had also a very rich agenda. How would you summarize your key lessons learned of the conference on inclusive insurance with a focus on managing climate risks?
Well, thank you, Astrid. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a great honor to be here, and congratulations to that great event that you have been organizing. Now, I can only repeat many of the things that you've said, but let me just summarize a few things from the ICI 2021. Now, what's clear, especially in emerging economies, billions of those who are severely affected by climate risks do not have the necessary resources to protect themselves efficiently. This was also underlined by the latest landscape study of microinsurance presented at the International Conference on Inclusive Insurance 21, presented by the Microinsurance Network. I think one of the messages of the ICII is that only a combination of different approaches is necessary, and only the combination can increase the overall resilience of a society. It's important that we do not forget that the people that are being affected, they have to be protected at the end of the day. One comment of a participant at the ICI was, we do need more inclusive disaster risk finance. No sovereign schemes alone, no microinsurance alone can create a reliable and affordable safety net. Not only the home insurance, not only insurance for infrastructure alone, it needs a combination of the different solutions on different levels to build a reliable and affordable safety net. And this requires the support of all stakeholders, such as policymakers and the industry, and certainly the people that are affected. Regarding the insurance industry, one panelist said that one of the barriers still is to get the insurance industry engaged in providing insurance for low-income communities as well. We just heard from Achim Steiner that the 10 largest insurers of the world are part of the tripartite agreement, but we need many more, including the regional and the national champions. The implementation of national financial inclusion strategies, such as in the Philippines or in Zambia, have proven to be successful, and I believe we need more approaches like this. And let me add, what needs and what is required is listening to the customers. High-level talks are important, but talking to the customers, talking to the people in the field and the communities and understanding their needs is important as well. One presenter at the conference said that they were talking to farmers and the first thing they bought was health insurance. That's what we heard from Jamaica. Talking about Jamaica, the Minister of Finance at the ICI, Minister of Finance of Jamaica, announced that a new microinsurance bill will be launched, and this can really be a game changer. And we need more governments acting like this. InsuResilience has been very successful in getting the attention of policymakers. The ICII, but also other players such as the Insurance Development Forum, have strong links to smaller or larger insurers. We can combine those efforts. We can reach more faster. Risk management, including insurance, plays a much too important role for sustainable economic development, and we cannot fail to deliver. Now, thanks you, and back to you, Astrid, and I would like to hear then what are the next steps from your side.
Thank you very much, Dirk. This is a fantastic segue into an outlook for the next year and even beyond. And you're right, the combination and the work at all levels is important. Just 2 days ago, our highest steering committee, the high-level consultative group, was meeting and focused on the issue of a global climate and disaster risk finance and insurance architecture, much better tailored to the needs of the vulnerable countries. So basically, the agenda ahead of us is quite clear. It's necessary to close the financial protection gap against climate and disaster risks through the following steps. We need a transparent and clear global climate and disaster risk finance and insurance architecture connecting macro, meso, and micro level solutions in a strategic risk management approach. This also entails to support countries in the affordability and accessibility for these solutions through systematic provision of a smart premium and capital support. And this also had been decided through our new 5 principles for smart premium and capital support that have been ratified by the high-level consultative group the day before yesterday. We also know that risk understanding is key. So there's a need for the improvement of risk data through a global public-private partnership for risk analytics and resilience, such as this new alliance that has been mentioned just before. And also the support of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises through the V20-led Sustainable Insurance Facility and really developing domestic and regional insurance markets for climate risks and even more. And finally, ensuring gender-smart and socially inclusive solutions, supported, for example, by the new Center of Excellence on Gender-Smart Solutions. With the COP26 ahead, we will see the launch of several of these programs that will help to achieve our Vision 2025. And last but not least, Dirk, we can support this agenda through a strong collaboration between our organizations and our networks to connect macro, meso, and micro level. And now I just want to extend a big thank you to all that have participated in this forum, to all the speakers, to all the moderators, our moderator Monica, and all supporters that have enabled that the forum could happen like that. Special thanks also to my team here behind the scenes, coordinating this huge program with these many sessions. And of course, a special thank you, Dirk, that you could make it able to come and to do the closing with me. So thank you very much, and I hand back to Monica.
Well, thank you so much, Astrid. Thank you for being such a fantastic host yet again for this 5th InsuResilience Global Partnership Forum. And Dirk, thank you as well. And I owe you an apology. I gave you one title too many. Not that you weren't in that position, but no longer. So let's just clarify. Dirk Reinhard, Vice Chairman of the Munich Re Foundation. Full stop. I think that already is honor enough and a big job. So thank you so much, Dirk, for correcting us here. We want to get it right. So thank you both for your final words. And I would like to actually pick up on what Astrid just did by thanking everybody, obviously thanking you for joining us for the last 2 days, the speakers, the moderators, but a big virtual hand. I know we don't have these buttons where one can see the applause, but we can imagine it, that we give a big virtual hand to all those who are working behind the scenes. For example, here in the studio, there's the camera crew, there are the technicians. There are so many people involved in order to make these 2 days happen. And of course, all the people on the part of the InsuResilience Secretariat dealing with the content months ahead of this event. A lot of work. I think it paid off. So a big virtual round of applause for them. And that is really the end of this 5th InsuResilience Global Partnership Forum. That's a wrap. But before you go, please watch out for the evaluation survey, where you can tell us what you thought of the event. Any remaining questions, again, I can invite you to go to the Risk Talk, where you can still engage with others. Well, and after these 2 intense days, do try to let it all sink in a bit and work. And do keep hold of the connections that you've made throughout the networking sessions, because who knows, you may have found just the right partners with whom you can work together to move from political ambition to implementation and strengthen the resilience of the world's most poor and vulnerable communities. Thank you so much for having me back again. As always, it's been a great privilege to be with you. All the best for COP26, and do stay safe.